S27 series is rumored to expand with a fourth model, reportedly considering adding a fourth model to its Galaxy S27 lineup, aiming to boost sales by incorporating technologies from the S26 Ultra, such as its privacy display, its top-notch camera sensors, but minus the S Pen. This potential new device, rumored to be named the S27 Pro, might receive a larger battery than its predecessors, addressing a weakness where Samsung has been outpaced by its competitors. While the S Pen will likely remain exclusive to the Ultra name, the S27 Ultra, the S27 Pro could offer more compelling package by prioritizing a larger battery in more advanced display features. Samsung's inclusion in phones necessitated design compromises such as internal storage, charging systems, and digitizer panels is costly, but it looks like they can provide a premium flagship type phone, remove the cost of the S Pen, and upgrade the internals for this Pro model. You see what I'm saying? It costs Samsung to get Bluetooth certification on this S Pen. And just by removing the S Pen, you can use that extra $50 to $100 per device on materials, on certifications, and maybe throwing whatever they're saving for leaving the S Pen out for certifications, for materials. They can add a 20 out of that $100 they're saving, take $20 and throw it into a newer sensors. Samsung's gonna produce an Ultra phone minus the S Pen. And when you think about it, I think they would sell quite a few of these. The reason why everybody is buying the Ultra model is because it has Ultra specs. Now, we've all seen those statistics. We've all seen those polls where they ask people, how many people that buy the Ultra actually use the S Pen. It's surprisingly really low. In fact, I'm shocked when I see how many people don't use the S Pen. Now, Samsung's gotten clever. They're putting their brains together and realizing, if everybody's buying the Ultra, but not many people are using the S Pen, maybe they want a Ultra phone with no S Pen. Duh. I'm surprised that they just now thought of this. Now, they might have a couple years ago, but they should have had a model like this already. So if you look at the graphic, what they're doing, you have the base model up top, you have the Plus model in the middle, and you have the Ultra model at the bottom. And if you look at the Plus and Ultra lines, you're essentially going to merge the two, the Plus and the Ultra. Now, they're not going to get rid of the Plus. And it makes you wonder, when you start thinking about this, you're like, well, why did they just have the 200 megapixel sensor on the Ultra? Why don't they spec out their Plus and their base model? Probably due to cost reasons. But apparently this Pro is going to be priced up there with the Ultra. But that might be their best unit, because if they're saving $50 to $100 on each Ultra minus the S Pen, as I mentioned earlier, people are upset because the Ultra may not have UFS 4.1 storage, right? A couple of other, they're using 5 or 6 year old sensors in these phones, right? Well, what if Samsung took the S Pen out, so they're saving $100 per device, and then what if they take that $100 savings and upgrade the sensors or upgrade the storage, UFS storage? See what I'm saying? So this might potentially be the flagship we've all been hoping and dreaming for at the end of the day. Now, if that's the case, I think they have a hit on their hands, because I think people, if it came down to having an S Pen, but having not the very best specs, or having no S Pen and having the very latest specs, I think people are going to choose the model that does not have the S Pen, but has that specced out. See what I'm saying? In fact, I might even do that, and I'm an S Pen user. Um, again, I don't know why they hadn't thought of this earlier. It's like, duh, it sounds like a no brainer. So, yeah, you're going to get. So, yes, from what I understand, it's going to have all the features and more than the current Ultra. So, or next year's Ultra. It'll have the privacy display 2.0. From what I heard, Samsung was kind of shocked, not shocked, but surprised of how negative the privacy display um, has been brought to the market. You know how there's a lot of people that say it doesn't bother me, like me. It doesn't bother me. I don't turn it on. I think I've only turned it on once, and that's just to try it out. I don't use it, but does it bother me? No. But they were shocked about how much negativity it got online and how many people are actually returning this device because of the display. But yes, it's going to have, in my point is, next year you're going to have a privacy display 2.0, and that will be available on the S27 Pro. They're also going to be bringing back, they're trying to find a way to bring back the anti-reflection from the S25 Ultra, improve upon that, included with the privacy shade on this next generation. So you should have on the S27 Pro the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 6 Pro, the new latest and greatest flagship CPU from Qualcomm. You're going to have the privacy display 2.0. You're going to have the anti-reflection, I guess it would be 3.0 at that point. So it'll be back to where it should be, because it took a hit on this model. I'm hoping with that money they save in the S Pen, from a couple of the sources I've been hearing, they're going to take that money they're saving on the S Pen and in turn upgrading the internals. So you should get UFS 4.1 storage on this S27 Pro. You should get a 10-bit display on this upcoming S27 Pro. It's going to be specced out, which, if that's the case, it sounds like a dream Samsung phone I've always wanted. You know, I would certainly give up my S Pen for a specced out S27 Pro, right? So it's probably going to be somewhere near the top end where the S26 Ultra is. Now, the S26 Ultra's got a 6.9-inch display. I believe the S26 Plus has a 6.7. So this is not going to be a small device, this S27 Pro. It's probably going to be somewhere in between. I would say 6.8, right at the sweet spot, maybe 6.9. I have no clue. I have this, I have the graphics that I put on display here and more. I just can't load all of them into StreamYard. You're going to want to check out my NotebookLM that I have down below in the description box. Yeah, I generated podcasts, I generated videos, all sorts of cool stuff on this phone, S27 Pro. All the information I could find online on this phone, I threw in there and cooked up some content for everybody. So please be my guest. What they're going to try to, as we talked about, copying Apple, which I hate to admit, but it's just a fact. They love to copy Apple. And they want 4 devices, just like Apple has 4 iPhones, right? You got the base model, the Plus, the Pro, and the Pro Max. Well, Samsung's going to have the base, the Plus, almost got choked up. It's so laughable. The Pro, and the Ultra. You know, copying right in Apple's footsteps. So that's what they're going to do. Now, moving on. Here's the cool thing. Everybody wanted including myself, bigger battery. Well, guess what? You're going to get one in the Pro. So just removing that S Pen, I think they can squeeze. Now remember, I don't know if Samsung's going to introduce their silicon carbon battery this year. They're working on something similar. It's like silicon carbon 2.0. So it's not technically silicon carbon. It's their version of it, where they can pack more dense battery inside the same size, same characteristics of a silicon carbon battery. They've been working on it for a couple years. And the reason why they not going with silicon carbon is because they just can't buy enough of it. So they're inventing one all on their own. They didn't just start this overnight. They've been working on it for a few years. But I've heard they're close to being able to introduce this to the market. That this would be a very cool introduction for their new battery technology. They can probably, on a regular lithium ion battery, they can probably squeeze another, if they remove the S Pen and enlarge the battery in that same space, they could probably squeeze a, I don't know, a 5600 milliamp per hour battery, 5700 milliamp per hour battery in the same footprint as the S26 Ultra. Like if you remove the battery and you expand, excuse me, if you remove the S Pen and expand the battery, you could probably squeeze another, I don't know, they slimmed it down this year. It's way off to the side. Maybe another few hundred milliamp per hours. But I think people that'll be welcomed by tons of people. I think it's a fantastic idea. So they risk the cannibalization threat. 70% of Galaxy buyers of said S26 model, 70%, and that goes back to previous years too. A large majority of the buyers just buy the Ultra, and it's because of the specs, right? And I'm not going to repeat myself, but that's why they're like, well, we could introduce another model spec'd out minus the S Pen, and I'm sure people will buy it. Well, duh, that's what we've been asking for this whole time. Give us a device that's spec'd out, all right? I'll buy it even if it doesn't have the S Pen on it. I don't care. Just give me something I can compete against the OnePlus 15, right? Or, I don't know, the iPhone Pro Max, right? So I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a hit on their hands. And that the S Pen tax is sort of like what I was talking about earlier, where they can save money not having to certify the S Pen, Bluetooth certification, materials that go into it. And the money they save, they're going to throw back into the device. Now, this is probably going to be priced around the same as the Ultra. So don't expect a spec'd out device that's going to be, you know, $800 or $900 that competes against the OnePlus 15. You're going to pay a premium for this, as you should if it's spec'd out, but base price, I don't know, probably $1,100, maybe $1,200, maybe right around the same price as its Ultra sibling. They should have kept the Note and Ultra separate. Things got stagnant when they merged lines. Yeah, that's sort of where this whole thing started, is when, yeah, you're exactly right. They should have kept the Note with the S Pen, right? And they keep the Galaxy S line with the regular phones. They did mess it all up. Could this be, I've been hearing some talk online, could this be the death of the S Pen? Like, what if Samsung comes out with this S27 Pro, and a large majority of people purchase the Pro model over the Ultra model? Like, what if it flip-flops? What if, now, no, not all 70% of buyers are gonna switch from the Ultra to this new Pro model, but what if 60%? Or what if 50%? What I'm getting at is, what if the sales for the Ultra drop off so much to where they just don't offer an S Pen anymore? I mean, crazier things have happened. They did have a Note series available with the S Pen. Or what if this is the reemergence of the Note series? What if they bring the Note back and just do the Galaxy S, right? How it used to be. And then they bring back the Note. Samsung Galaxy Note 27, 28. I mean, crazier things have happened. And I think that's primarily where they screwed things up, is trying to merge. And it sounded like a, you know, maybe it sounded like a good idea at the time. But moving into the future where we're at now, it's like now they're just splitting it up again. Kind of, you know, or at least giving us different models. So you definitely bring up a good point. Now, what would be messed up is if Samsung What would be messed up is if Samsung put better specs on the Pro than on the Ultra. Like, what if the S27 Pro has an upgraded 200 megapixel camera sensor in there and a UFS storage 4.1, while the S27 Ultra has an S Pen? You know what I'm saying? Like, what they should do is have them spec'd the same. But from the information I was seeing today, it kind of was leaning towards them saving money on the Ultra because of no S Pen, and then taking that money they save and specking out the Pro model. See what I'm saying? I wish they would just spec them. I don't care about the I'm not talking about the base model or the plus model, right? We've kind of been accustomed to it not having, I mean, they're fantastic phones, don't get me wrong, but it's not like completely specced out, right? It's just not. What would be messed up, or what they should do, is spec out the Pro and the Ultra the same. Like, common sense would say that, but a lot more goes into it than common sense, right? There's money involved, and revenue, and all sorts of stuff, profit margins and everything. And I get it, all that goes into play, but I think this will definitely be one you're gonna have to keep an eye on. I think this news leaked today because I think they're seriously considering this. I don't know if this has the green light or not, but I think they are thinking about it, and they're trying to feel out. A lot of times this news will leak on purpose just so they can see what the temperature is of people like us on YouTube, comments, articles in online publications. Trust me, they read all this stuff. They see all this stuff, right? They're human like we are. It pops up on their algorithm feeds like everybody else. So I think they're trying to test the waters a little bit with this Pro model. And I think they need to do it. In fact, I'm sold on them needing to do this. If they're dead set on a quote unquote specced out device, they got to do this. I think this would be a no-brainer. In fact, I think I would lean towards getting this, honestly. And I don't even consider getting the other models anymore, right? Well, I think I would get this, the Pro. It looks cool. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with the design. I've heard they're going to change things up, the way stuff looks on the back. Now, how much, I don't know. But we're supposed to get all new cameras this upcoming year. But who knows? They're in, I think, crisis management mode. Look, times are tough for everybody, especially these companies. Costs, parts, everything's going up. Profit margins getting thinner. So, but I do think this would be a hit, and I do think they would sell a lot of these. So we'll have to see where it goes.